Hello, everybody. It's time to talk about the last course project report of the semester. This one will be due after our last class, and it will be a topic of your choice. So I've tried to make the font here a little bigger because I realized that maybe you can't really read what I'm reading when I'm reading through these guidelines for you. So hopefully you can just follow along at home. The topic of your final project report on your consultant's language is up to you. You may, for instance, follow up on a finding that piqued your interest in one of your initial project reports, or you may present some phonetic feature of the language that interests you but was not covered in one of those earlier reports. For instance, you may consider discussing features or segments like sonorants, fricatives, secondary articulations, nasalization, voice quality, etc. that were not explicitly addressed in reports 2 through 4. Alternatively, you may look at interesting or unusual phonological changes that occur in the language. I'm okay with some phonology in here, that's totally fine. Phonology is part of phonetics, just like phonetics is part of phonology, so on and so forth. Time permitting, you may also use some of the specialized equipment or resources available in the phonetics lab to investigate and collect data on some of the articulatory or acoustic features of your consultant's speech. And the other condition I place on that is that we have to make sure that it's safe. And again, I'm recording these in the summer, so I don't know exactly what the situation will be in December, but ideally, it would be great if you guys could use whatever you want to in the lab to do this final project report. So I'm leaving this topic open not only because every language is different, but also so that you may be able to work on whatever feature of the language intrigues you the most. Aside from talking to your consultant, you may identify interesting features of the language to study through published grammars and descriptions of the language. Tips for finding such resources on your consultant's language on the internet or in the library or where have you were provided in the initial handout for this project way back on the first day of class. The scope and structure of this final project report should be similar to project reports number 2 through 4. In other words, a short report of 2 to 3 pages is fine as long as it adequately covers the phonetic phenomenon you would like to address. Papers that are longer than 2 or 3 pages are also perfectly fine as well. It's basically whatever you want to say and whatever length you think is necessary for that purpose. So I'm going to leave that up to you within reason, of course. No matter how long your paper is, it must include some audio recordings or phonetic data that you collected from your consultant to substantiate the examples you present in the paper itself. For instance, if you want to discuss a palatalization contrast in the language, then I want to hear samples of the palatalized and non-palatalized segments of the language that you present in your paper. Or, if you don't want to make audio recordings but instead perform a palatography analysis of place articulation in the language, then you should present pictures of the palatograms that you make for your study. And as we learned from the palatography demo, that can be a little bit tricky, but with some practice you can get some nice representations that way. This assignment is due on Wednesday, the 23rd at 12 noon, 2 weeks after our last scheduled class for the semester. So hopefully that gives you enough time to work on it. And I'm going to try to post these guidelines early so that you can be thinking about this basically well throughout the semester. Once you're finished, you should upload a PDF copy of your paper and the recorded sounds, data, pictures, or samples to go along with it to the Dropbox on D2L, or email them all to me at swinters@ucalgary.ca as usual, and please let me know if you have any questions. So this one, since it's up to you, it's also a chance to kind of make it fun or whatever you might enjoy the most about your consultant's language. So go out there and have fun with it and, learn something too. All right, that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. And as usual, I'll be interested to see what you come up with.